But I am so glad you're here. And if you're not here live, I am so glad that you're watching the replay. I've wanted to have this conversation because over the past week, inside my DMs, in my calls, even in my program, the same question keeps coming up. And that's, why is it that I can understand everything? I get all of this, but I still fall back into the same patterns. Like, I get it, so what gives, right? And I want to talk about that honestly today, because there is nothing wrong with you when you are not behind. You're not missing discipline. You're not missing mindset. You're not broken. You're simply running a nervous system and a subconscious identity that were built for a completely different version of life than the one you're trying to create right now. Like, a lot of people are trying to think their way into a new self and a new life, and it just doesn't work like that. Most people think they're stuck because they don't know enough, or they're not consistent enough, or they haven't healed enough, but that's not the truth. Your patterns don't repeat because you aren't trying. They repeat because your nervous system is loyal to what it knows, not what you want. Identity always wins. Safety always wins. Whatever's the most familiar to your nervous system, like I talked about in last week's training, that's what it's going to try to come back to. And that's why I used weight loss as an easy example, right? You can bust your ass doing diet and exercise and all of that. But if your nervous system and subconscious mind are calibrated to an overweight version of you, it's not going to just maintain. It won't. It's always going to rebound, because that's just not who you are yet, right? When we become the version of ourselves that we want to be, these things become automatic. Everything in my life that I've created was so little effort. I want to say effortless, but people always fight me on that. So little effort. I certainly didn't notice any of it as effortful. So the body's always going to choose familiarity over possibility, even if the familiarity feels awful. So if you've ever said, why am I doing this again? Why do I still react like this? Why can't I just hold the changes I make? Why can't I keep results? You're not failing. You're just trying to build a new life on top of an identity that never learned how to feel safe having one, right? So here's what actually changes your life: your emotional baseline, not motivation. Oh my gosh. Motivation and discipline, those are ways of forcing yourself to do something, right? Like, motivation, it doesn't even exist. And I think I talked about this in last week's training too. Motivation, what you're really saying when you say you want to be motivated, is you want inspiration that creates an inspired action that you take. So it doesn't feel like you're efforting and trying, right? It's about your emotional baseline, not mindset hacks, not journaling till your wrists fall off. When the body feels safer, your identity expands. And when your identity expands, your choices automatically shift. And when your choices shift, your entire life moves, right? So it's really a three-part process. What is your emotional baseline, which comes from your programmed identity? This can be changed. What is your programmed identity actually wanting out of life for real? So we often see people, and we fall into this ourselves, trying to create our lives based on what we think is possible for us, what we feel we should be doing. The amount of clients I had in the last round, I keep my rounds very small, 3 to 5 people max, because I'm personally helping them completely change, right? 3 people in the last round all said that they just feel depressed, and they don't know why, because they have everything that they've ever wanted. They have a good spouse, they've got a great career, they've got nice friends, they've got a great place to live, they're safe and healthy. Why aren't they happy? Well, is that what they actually want deep down? Or is that what they believe is possible for them and what they feel they should do? So just something to think about. It's not about what you think you need. It's what you truly want. I'm talking subconscious identity, not conscious self. So if that's the case, then what are all the little micro choices that make that all real for you in your life? Because it's the micro choices that have been and are creating your right now reality. So it'll be the same ones that create the reality you truly want to live in yourself and your life. So all of this boils down to knowing does not create any shift. Understanding your patterns doesn't change the patterns. And I know this to be true for myself. Years ago, I had a really awful eating disorder. And I knew about calories. I knew about, the body and how it changes. I knew that I had this problem. So I knew the information. That didn't change the compulsions. It was an addiction. And it doesn't have to be that serious. It could just be a basic life that you're living, right? So that's why so many people feel like I know all of this logically, but nothing changes. And that's because the subconscious mind and body, aka nervous system, don't follow logic. They follow their felt safety, repetition, identity. So here's one thing I want to teach you today, a takeaway that you can actually use in the moment when you feel yourself slipping back into an old pattern. It's called the micro pattern interruption and safety signal reset. And it's only 2 steps. Micro pattern interruption. When you feel the old pattern starting, or when you notice it's happening in the moment, whether it's shutdown, overthinking, spiraling, people-pleasing, procrastination, whatever it is in you that you really want to change, you interrupt it by shifting one tiny physiological cue, physiologically within the body, okay? Not the whole pattern, just one cue. It could be unclenching your jaw, dropping your shoulders consciously, placing your feet flat on the floor, feeling grounded physically, loosening your belly, or just even exhaling through your mouth like a sigh. That immediately calms the nervous system. And it doesn't fix the pattern. It simply gives your nervous system a pattern break so it stops just running on autopilot, right? Because that's where these patterns are happening from. It's autopilot. At this point, it's been practiced so much that it's become the norm. So where your body and mind just do this automatically now. And that's how we want to create the new as well. We want to practice it to the point that it becomes your new automatic baseline. And so once you've interrupted the loop, you give your nervous system a cue that says you're safe enough right now in this moment to choose differently. You can do that by adding one of these: a slow inhale and a slower exhale, placing a hand on your chest or collarbone, looking around the room and naming one thing you can see, or saying quietly in your mind, I'm right here, right now. I'm in this moment. Sometimes for me, back when I was working on this, was trying to hear the farthest away sound that was possible for me to hear in the moment. It completely shifted my physiology. This cues your system out of survival mode just enough to access choice again. That's it. 2 steps: micro interruption and a safety signal. Okay. And this tool is actually really powerful. It sounds so simple, but it is still general. Like, the most helpful thing right now is this that I can offer in a space where I don't know your full nervous system history or identity patterns. Like with clients, I know exactly what's going on in their subconscious, their life circumstance, their identity patterning, their nervous system calibration. So I'm going to be trying over the next while to just help you as much as I can in a generalized way. There are almost 900 people here, so I'll try my best. And as my post said about going live today, you can ask questions anytime. If you want me to go deeper into something, you don't have to be here, I will. I'll do that. I can answer questions and teach on anything you're wanting, to know more about. So you can absolutely have breakthroughs on your own. You can have beautiful moments of clarity. You can apply what I teach in these lives and feel real emotional relief. But sustained change, that feeling of I'm finally becoming who I've always wanted to be for good this time. I don't want to give the wrong idea. It doesn't happen with a simple physiological change in a moment where an old pattern is happening, aka this training, right? This is just to help you as you're going along right now. What you're reaching for is what I just said, of that I'm finally becoming who I've always wanted to be, but for good now. Like, you'll know it when it's happening. Or I don't fall back into those spirals anymore. I actually feel different in my body. And that happens with guidance, nervous system support, identity level integration, real time, real life action. The one thing to understand in a moment, sorry, it's one thing to understand something in a moment and another thing to entirely embody it. So but not just embody it, but embody it when you're triggered, when you're overwhelmed, when you're exhausted or spiraling. That's the work most people can't really do alone, not because they aren't capable, but because your nervous system can't guide itself through its own blind spots. And that's another reason that when I make a post and I say, oh, share below, always comment on someone else's post so that they can be witnessed. It's so important for us all to help each other here. It's important to witness people and for people to witness you as the version of yourself you want to become. So here's what I want you to take from today. There's nothing wrong with you. Your patterns make total sense. Your body is trying to protect you, and your mind is trying to do what it knows how to do. The moment you stop fighting yourself, the moment you actually work with your system, that is when everything starts to click. So if today's live landed for you and you want to go deeper into this work, just message me. You don't even have to know what you need. You can just say, hey, I think I'm ready for more support, and we'll figure it out together. So if you ended up with any questions or, again, want to go deeper into anything, leave a comment on the replay because that's where you'll be seeing this, and I will get in touch with you. I will add things into the lives. I'll answer questions as best I can, and I just really look forward to connecting with you all a little more deeply. Till next time.